perpendicular, it means 90 degrees. So if I look at my picture where line AB and CD meet, this right here is 90 degrees. Technically, each of these quadrants is 90 in total because it's like an X and a Y axis. Because I need to know the value of X, I'm only looking at the equations with X. So this equation has an X, this equation has an X. I'm really just looking at this corner, this top corner. Those will add together to make 90. If it said Y, I would look at this corner because those would add to make 90. But because this one says X, I'm finding X. So I'm doing 5X minus 7 plus 7X minus 11 equals 90. If I combine like terms, 5X and 7X is 12X. If I combine -7 and -11, that makes -18. I'm going to move the 18 over using addition because opposite properties of equality, opposites. This is 108. And then if I divide by 12, 108 divided by 12 is 9. Number two says that CA and CE are opposite rays, and CH bisects GCD, meaning this is congruent to this side. Whatever's on one side is on the other side. Bisect means congruent. It means the same. It means they're equal. So GCF is 7x minus 2. DCF is 8x minus 8. Since they're bisecting, they're congruent, they're equal, I'm going to set them equal to each other. 7x minus 2 equals 8x minus 8. I'm going to move the 8 because it's larger than 2 and it's negative, so I want my answer to be positive because I don't want to deal with negatives. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. 7x negative 2 plus 8 is positive 6. Now I have to move my x's, so I'm minus 7x minus 7x. So 6 equals 1x, so x equals 6 if I divide by 1. I don't really need to divide by 1 though. So because this says find the measure of GCD, that is this whole image. So if I look at my picture, GCD is this whole angle. So instead of just plugging it into one, I'm going to plug it into both and I'm going to add them together. So I'm going to do 7 times 6 minus 2, which is 42 minus 2, which is 40. 8 times 6 minus 8 also gives me 40 because it's an angle bisector. So this is 40, this is 40. Together, if we add them, the measure of GCD would be 80 degrees in total. For number 3, this picture looks crazy, but it's not too bad. It says if 4 and 8 are supplementary and 8 is 47, so this is 47 degrees. So I'm going to put that in my picture because when in doubt, put it in your picture. So 8 is 47. Find the measures of all the remaining numbered angles. If they're supplementary, supplementary means they add to make 180. So something plus 47 needs to make 180. So if I subtract these, I get 133 for angle 4. And then this is really just like a big puzzle. If this is 133 next to it, because these are a linear pair, they're right next to each other, these need to add to make 180. So this is also 47. If I look down below, these add to make a straight line. This is 47. So this is also 133 because they're in the same spot, the same numbers. The only one that's a little difficult is number 6. You have to decide, is it 133 or is it 47? It's 47. The reason why is because if I look, those two together sideways make a straight line, so they're supplementary. Or you can think 5 and 6 are vertical angles. Vertical angles are crossing each other in an intersection. They are congruent to each other. So the measure of angle 4 is 133. Measure of angle 5 is 47. The measure of angle 6 is 47. The measure of angle 7 is 133. On the back, number 4 is kind of wordy. It says two angles are complementary. Complementary means 90. The measure of the larger angle is 12 more than 2 times the measure of the small angle. I don't know anything about the small angle, so that's going to be my x. So if I draw a picture of a right angle, because it's complementary, 90, I'm splitting it. The smaller angle is x. And then if in algebra, the larger angle is 12 more, that's plus 12, then 2 times. 2 times is 2x. So this together represents my other angle, 2x plus 12. So I need to combine these, and they make a complementary angle, which is 90. So we're doing x plus 2x plus 12 equals 90. If I combine like terms, 1x and 2x make 3x. I'm going to minus 12 to both sides. 3x equals, oops, 78 divided by 3. So x is 26. So the smaller angle in my picture is 26 degrees because it's just x. This one is 2 times 26 plus 12. Together they add to make 90. The smaller angle is 26 degrees. The larger angle is 64 degrees. Number 5 says the 4 interior angles of a quadrilateral have a sum of 360. So it says 4 angles of a quadrilateral. So you have 4 angles. So I'm going to make like a parallelogram. The total sum is 360. So in total, the whole thing is 360. If 2 of the angles are supplementary, so let's just say these two right here are supplementary. That means together they add to make 180. So basically this side of the picture is 180. It wants to know what conclusion is accurate. It wants to know if it's a rectangle, if it's complementary, congruent, or if it's supplementary. So if I take 180 away from 360, I still have 180 left over, meaning the other 2 angles still have to make a total of 180. That is not complementary. They don't have to be congruent. It could be 80 and 100. It could be a rectangle, but it doesn't have to be. The only other thing I definitely know is the other side would have to also be 180 because there are 4 angles. 2 of them make 180. This side also has to add to make 180 because 180 plus 180 is 360. 6 says, determine which statement can be assumed from the picture. So if I look at my picture, I just kind of that'll see which one's true. ABG, right here, and DCB are vertical angles. These are not vertical angles. They're not even close to each other. Vertical angles look like a crisscross. There's one on top, there's one on the bottom, or they're on the sides. So this is not true. They're not vertical. The next one says GBD, so GBD, so this one, and CBD are adjacent. That is true because they share a common side. They share this side right here. So they share this ray. The next one, if you want to just go through them really quick, CBD is right here, is vertical angles to EDF. EDF is right here. Those are not vertical because vertical has to be side to side or top and bottom. So that does not work. And then the last one is FDE, so still the same spot, and GBE, this one right here, are supplementary. That and that are not supplementary. So the only correct one is B. For number 7, it says that AB is perpendicular to EC. Perpendicular automatically means 90 degrees. So where AB crisscrosses with CE. This side is 90. This side is also 90 because it's splitting the line in half to make a total of 180. So it says HEB is 9x. CEH is 13x plus 12. I need to find the value of x, and I also need to plug it back in. So I don't even need to use the whole picture. I'm just going to use half of it. I'm going to add them because they're complementary. They're perpendicular. They add to make 90. If I combine like terms, 13 and 9 make 22. I'm going to minus 2 to both sides. 22x equals 88. And then I divide by 22. So x is 4. I need to find CEH, so I'm going to plug it back into CEH. So 13 times 4 plus 2. 13 times 4 plus 2 is 54 degrees. Number 8 says in the figure, CA and CE are opposite rays, so that's kind of pointless. It tells me that this is bisecting this angle, and this is bisecting this angle. I need to find an angle that's congruent, which means equal to GFH. The only vocab word that we talked about that represent congruent angles, there's technically two. There's bisect, and there is vertical. So if I go through these, DFC, I use different colors. DFC is right here. These are congruent. They are vertical angles. They're crisscross from each other. So this is vertical. This is true. I'll show you why each other one is wrong if you put that. So let's use pink. So DGB. They're saying this whole thing is the same as this. Those have no relation to each other. They're not even in the same intersection together. They're not congruent. GBA. This has no relation to this. They are not congruent. GFC is the only other one that a lot of people will put. Okay. GFC. A lot of people think right here. I'll put a little happy face. That is congruent to this. That is not congruent to this. That would be congruent to this side over here. I'll put a little happy face over there. Vertical angles are congruent. Although it looks like this is a right angle and this is a right angle, people want to say this is 90 and this is 90. You don't actually know those are 90. This could be 91 degrees and this could be 89 degrees. You don't know they're congruent because it doesn't tell me this part is bisecting anything. So the only thing you can definitely confirm is that vertical angles will always be congruent to each other. So this intersection right here. So you're looking for vertical angles. The last two problems are constructions, which we went over in class, but we'll go over them again. So it says, arrange the following steps of the construction in the right order to construct a copy of an angle. Congruent. We are copying an angle. The last step is always going to be the congruency statement every single time. So A is automatically last. The first step to copy an angle is to draw a ray off to the side. So they say draw a ray with endpoint X. So they're using X. So D is the first step. The next step would be for you to draw an arc and sharing that arc over here. So we got to figure out which one says that. Place a compass on point A, draw an arc that intersects both rays of angle A, label the points of the intersection B and C without changing the intersection, place the compass on X, and draw an arc. Or place the compass on point C and open the compass to the distance between B and C. Well, we don't even have B and C yet. It's going to be B. B is second. Third is where C comes into play. It says place the compass on point C. So they labeled this B and C. If I place my compass here, I have to measure how wide the opening is to drag it over, which is C. the last technically step that you need to draw is E, which is draw a ray, use the straight edge, connecting these points together. So this is like point Z. Then you would have your congruency statement. This is going to be the same question. They're just going to mix up the order. So don't remember the order. You need to remember like the first and last step and hopefully something in the middle. Number 10. Number 10 says rearrange the following sentences below to create a bisector. So we need to split this. So the last step is always the congruency statement. So B is always last, not B, but like the congruency statement is always last. So that's automatically last. The first step to construct a bisector, we draw a arc going through both sides. That is C. The next thing is to place the compass on one of the points, and we're going to draw an arc on the inside of the angle. We flip it and we draw the arc on the other inside. That is A. The last one is D, which is where we actually connect A to that coordinate in front of us that we created. And then we have an angle bisector.